Scrubbing in and not even 7:30 yet. This is for my mom. That is a cringe picture, but October 31st, 2011, I delivered my first baby. What a wonderful part of history for my life. Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Mama Dr. Jones, a board certified OBGYN, and that means I went to medical school. Today we're gonna do a video that's a little bit different. I wanna go through my very old Instagram posts from med school. They may be incredibly cringy because I'm a weird, cringy person at heart. I'm sure you can already tell. Please don't follow me on this account because it's my private account and I don't even use it anymore. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Mama Dr. Jones is where it's at. This is gonna take me forever.
Two hours later.
All right, we have gotten back to my very first Instagram post, February 18th, 2011. I posted a picture of some wine. What's this? These sim people are kind of creepy when it's dark outside and dead quiet in the abandoned school. Yeah, I remember taking this picture. I was studying at the library. The library was connected to the med school, and so I had to walk through the med school. I guess I walked past some of the sim people and through the window just thought like how creepy it looks to have them just chilling in there in the middle of the night. Helicopter air ambulance landing at the hospital right by my study window. I think I was studying for step 1 at this point. Step 1 is our first licensing exam, and it's really, really important as to how competitive you are when you apply to residency. And I was studying like 8 hours a day for that test for weeks. It was insane. And I ended up doing well, so it paid off. Most of these are just me complaining about being stuck inside study. I guess I wasn't gonna let it go past anybody how much I was actually in the library. Look guys, I'm a medical student. All I do is spend time in the library. July 7th, 2011, I was starting my 3rd year of medical school. And if you don't know, that's when you first start spending like a lot of time in the clinics and in the hospitals and around patients. So I had my white coat, had my stethoscope, I had my little name badge, and I felt like a doctor. I remember taking this picture and thinking like, yes, I am making it. Coffee and an EKG book. This is rapid interpretation of EKGs, and I don't know if people in medical school use this still, but it was a really, really helpful book. It helped me pass my tests about EKGs, and now I still don't know how to read EKGs because I don't do it anymore. Oh, I got my step 1 score report, July 13th, 2011. I remember this day so distinctly because I was on my 3rd year rotation. One of my very good med school friends was with me on that rotation, and him and I had met because we were lab partners at our cadaver lab for the very first day of medical school. And the first 3 months we spent doing our human dissection together. And I just remember standing there opening my score report and thinking like, oh my gosh, if this is terrible, I have to go back to my rotations. How am I gonna concentrate? I can't even explain it. It was one of the more stressful test results that I've ever gotten back in my whole life. And I have taken a bunch of tests. We got our scores back on that day and we were both thrilled. We both did really well. We were competitive for residency in pretty much any field that we wanted to be. And it was just so nice to like be with someone that I had gotten to know so well through med school. We had been through so much together, and to get our score reports back that day and be happy. Oh my gosh, Redbox. Do you guys remember that? Before we could rent movies on the TV, we had to go to a physical Redbox outside of a Walgreens and get our entertainment for the weekend. Call day coffee thanks to a gift card from my sister. How nice of her. I don't know what rotation I was on at this time, but basically I was hanging out with the residents and following them around to learn about how to take care of patients in the hospital. Wonder how many packs of G2s and Sharpie pens I'll have to buy before I finally learn to stop leaving my pens laying places in the hospital. So G2.38 are the best pens on the planet. And looking back at this post, I now know what happened to my pens. I wasn't leaving them places. Attendings and residents were stealing them. Now that I am an attending, I know that's what happens to pens. To all the medical students watching this, if your pens are missing, it's because your attending took them. Oh, this is my sister and my mom. They came to visit me and we went to the sim lab and taught her about intubations. Glad they aren't coming after me with this, yikes. This is a phlebotomy kit, and you can see the syringes and needles and then all of these little different color top tubes, and each of the different color top tubes is for something different. So if you want to check like a blood count for anemia, you use one color. If you want to check liver enzymes, you use another color. So that's kind of another interesting job in the hospital, is the people who are in charge of doing all of the blood draws around the hospital. You definitely want the phlebotomist or the nurse to do your blood draw, not the physician, with the exception of a few types of physicians, but not me. This is the building of the clinic where I went to medical school. There's a DNA helice in the windows, which I think is super cool. This was in August of 2011, so I must have been probably on my internal medicine rotation, and I was learning about primary pulmonary hypertension, which some of you may know is a diagnosis that my stepdad was given in 2003, and he subsequently had a lung transplant in 2006. It was a long journey, and he ended up doing well for many years. He's now sadly passed away at this point, but he did very well. If you are not an organ donor, please consider signing up. This was a huge blessing to my family to be able to spend more time with him, because he would have died without this. And we're so thankful to the family of our donor and to our donor for deciding to give us the gift of life and additional time with him. It allowed my sister to have her dad, my stepdad, there when she graduated from high school. He got to meet my twins when they were born, which are things that he would have missed out on if it wasn't for our organ donor. I'll put a link in the description where you can learn more about organ donation and sign up to be an organ donor if you are not already. Found this residing in a quiet hallway. Think they'd notice or mind if I crawled in for a nap? I think someone would probably notice eventually, but they'd probably take pity on me. That poor medical student. You should just let her sleep. Just leave her there. Tons of studying pictures. Studying at Starbucks, studying in the library. I miss going to Starbucks and reading journals and studying. That just reminded me I need to finish my maintenance certification, which is our yearly OBGYN. We have like a certain amount of journals we need to read, articles, and answer questions about to maintain our board certification. So I should probably get that done before they take mine away. Oh, I was going to California. Oh, this was really cool. I went to California as a part of one of my rotations that I applied for and got to do a rotation at the Betty Ford Center, which is an alcohol and drug addiction treatment center. And it was the coolest immersive experience I have ever been in. We did a lot of like teaching time, but we also spent a ton of time with the people who were there receiving treatment. We went to all of their group meetings and classes and discussions, and we were expected to participate and share our own stories. It was the greatest learning experience as far as addiction and treatment of addiction goes that I had as a medical student. And I think they're still doing this at the Betty Ford Center. So if you're a medical student, and see if you can apply for their rotation there, because it was absolutely life-changing for me. One of my friends drew us in lecture. It's a very good drawing, and it looks like I'm sleeping, but I claim that I'm taking notes. Who knows? More coffee, church. Oh, I remember this day. These are Fruity Pebble treats. They're basically Rice Krispie treats made with Fruity Pebbles. I was on my psych rotation, and one of my friends on the rotation made these and brought them to class, and they were incredible. They're so good. If you like Fruity Pebbles, make yourself some Rice Krispie treats with Fruity Pebbles instead of Rice Krispies. Mind-blowing. Another picture of my stethoscope. Lonely stethoscope. Hasn't seen the inside of my ears since I started psychiatry. There's actually a lot of OBGYNs who don't even carry a stethoscope with them, but I always keep mine with me. I mean, we're like doing surgery on people and assessing people who have hearts, most people have one of those, and lungs, most people also have those. I feel like stethoscope, especially in OBGYN, is still an extremely valuable tool to have, but maybe in psychiatry a little bit less so. I got my flu shot, going strong, every year flu shot. It's never given me the flu, because you can't get the flu from a flu shot because it's a dead virus vaccine. You might feel bad for a day or two, but can't give you the flu. There are a lot of pictures of coffee in here, which is not shocking to me, but maybe revealing a little bit about my habits. I got to know my Starbucks barista very well, and he knew me by name, and he has recently found me on social media in the past few months and said, "Hey, I remember you studying at Starbucks as a medical student." I think that is hilarious. Oh, my dog had surgery. She tore her ACL, I think, which is a ligament in the knee, and she had to have surgery, and it was very expensive, and we had to drive across the state to do it. That is her leg as she is recovering, and she did very well. Oh, yeah. We lived in West Texas, like in the Texas Panhandle, and this is what we would call a haboob, which is an actual weather term, when the red dust would blow in, and it would just look like a massive alien overtake of the city, but it's actually just dust. It would come in like under your windowsills, and it would get all over your car and in your garage, and it was horrible, but it always looked kind of crazy. Oh yeah, I remember taking this picture, and I actually got in trouble from my school for posting this on my blog. This should just give you some information about the times that we were in. I posted this picture of a fake patient on my medical school blog, which if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If this gets enough likes and you guys enjoy this video, at some point I can go through my blogs from medical school and my residency Instagram post. I just think like this is such an amazing difference from now that I could post a picture that is not even a real patient and get called to the principal's office to get talked to about social media. Look where we are now. Social media is like making a huge difference in people's lives. There's obviously nothing wrong with this picture. This is such like a transformative picture in my mind because it was really a key point in my social media exploration as a medical professional, and seeing it just takes me back to sitting there trying to defend what I was doing online. And obviously these posts are not for teaching, but I used it in a teaching context on my blog. I felt very drawn to this picture and defensive of what I was doing. Okay, I learned that this rotation is going to be a little crazy, busy. I started my OBGYN rotation on October 26th, 2011. Life-changing. That is a cringe picture, but scrubbing in and not even 7:30 yet. This is for my mom. I took the picture for my mom because she's a nurse and I knew she would want to see it. But I was so thrilled to start this rotation. I didn't think I wanted to do OBGYN, but I knew that I would enjoy the rotation. We're gonna have to go through these faster or this video is gonna be forever long. That's a pillow, not an actual baby, but this is myself and my husband in, October 29th. That ended up being when my fourth baby was born, just 7 years later. That's really funny. So we dressed up as Juno and Bleecker. This is a perfect opportunity to tell you the wonderful news. Elliot Page, who played Juno in this movie and who is now a star in the Umbrella Academy, came out as trans, and he deserves all the congratulations on doing that. I imagine that is very hard to do in general, but especially as a massive public figure. It doesn't exclude you to include others. If you'd like to check out my video on transgender inclusivity and the science behind that, you can check that out. I will link it in the description below as well. We are a pretty good Juno and Bleecker. Look at that. Oh, look. Plastic baby delivery last week, real baby delivery today. October 31st, 2011, I delivered my first baby. That's so exciting. What a wonderful part of history for my life. I didn't even know I had documented that. More coffee pictures, more studying pictures. The wonderful thing about being married to a really nerdy web developer as a medical student is that he would just go study with me and we would just spend hours and hours. I would study whatever rotation I was on, OBGYN at the time, and he would just computer hack stuff. Why and how could this much nonsense have ended up in my white coat pockets in just over a week? These are all the things I was carrying around on my OBGYN rotation, which is so funny because after I got out of medical school, I never wore a white coat again. I have pictures in a white coat, I own a white coat, but I have never worn it in my clinic unless it was like ironically because I wanted to take a photo that day. I just think they're germy and I don't like seeing patients in a white coat. I don't like it. Probably the only book I bought in my first year of med school and still occasionally refer back to. Yeah, that's accurate. And it's actually one of the only books that I kept still to this day. I have that book. It's a very good anatomy book. Planning our vacation to New Zealand, which we were leaving for the day after I finished my OB rotation. And I knew at that point, like, this is unusual. I'm sad to end my OBGYN rotation, even though I'm going to New Zealand. And that was like the moment where I was like, maybe this is what I want to do with my life. My battery's about to die, so I need to switch out the battery on this camera. Or maybe I should just wrap this up because it's going to be 50 minutes long. And we're back. So I titled this one Adam's Family Thanksgiving, and it's not actually obviously that, but it was a suture clinic that we held for the high school students, and they came and we taught them using pig's feet how to suture. Okay, cool. This is when I dyed my hair red. I liked it a lot. I actually probably would have kept it. It just faded really quickly. So I have never dyed it dark red again after that. The maintenance was just too much. I only get my hair cut like twice a year as it is, and I certainly wasn't gonna go in to have them help me with the dye more often than that. This is at my OBGYN clinic on my OB rotation, and the therapy dog came by and I got to take a picture with it. Hunger Games. I was reading this on our flight to New Zealand, and on that trip, I made it through every piece of novel, what am I even saying? I read all the Hunger Games books on the flight to and from New Zealand. And my husband made me watch Lord of the Rings, all of them, in preparation for going, because we were going to go to Hobbiton, which is, if you don't know, in Mata Mata, which is in the North Island of New Zealand. I'm sorry, please do not hate me, but I don't love the Lord of the Rings as much as he does. Pictures of New Zealand, my first time visiting there and absolutely falling in love with it. It was amazing. It's beautiful. That's Tairua, was the first place that we stayed in, and I love New Zealand. Most of you, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that. I talk about it all the time. I would love to work there. I'm looking into jobs there. I don't know if it's going to work out, but it's on the list of potentials. We absolutely love it there. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember this. Okay. I have both of these pagers because I was on the surgery rotation when the surgery residents were out doing their board exams. I got to be the first call to go evaluate surgery patients in the ER. It was one of the best learning adventures for me as a student because I got to be in the role of an intern as a late third year medical student. It was so awesome. And I got to be first assist on some surgeries. Those were the 2 best call days of my whole medical school. These to me look so much like what we call ferning in OBGYN. They're obviously snowflakes on my window. If you want to check for somebody's water breaking, you take a sample of the fluid, because sometimes people have urine or discharge or whatever that they think is their water. So we look at it under a microscope to see, and you put the sample on a slide. When it dries out, it crystallizes and it looks exactly like this. It looks exactly like that under a microscope slide. Take a picture of an elevator for some reason. Thank you to those loyal 3 people who liked my random elevator button picture. Hallway to the ER is 1/4 of a mile, and I think I walked it 20 times that night. Yeah, that's accurate and perfectly describes what residency would end up being like, and actually probably more perfectly describes what being an attending in OBGYN is like, going back and forth from the clinic to the hospital all day and all night. More coffee pictures, more surgery studying, more food, more church, more candy, more coffee. It's about accurate. Interesting $3 necklace, sweet. Questionable decision-making, MDJ. Quite ugly. Please don't wear it again. I love DIY projects, and I was redoing this dresser, and I made it for a friend to use as their baby changing table. Oh, there's the finished product. Antique dresser turned changing table for Miss Emerson. French laundry. Ended up getting invited from Twitter to a conference at Doximity, which is it's like LinkedIn for doctors. And they took us to eat at the French Laundry, and I didn't even know what that was because I'm not bougie. I took a picture of it because everybody else was, but I didn't know what it was. More suture clinic. That's not bad suturing. It's not great, but it's not terrible. More pictures of my dogs, more pictures of coffee. This was casting clinic. We were learning how to place casts on our family medicine rotation, and I felt like absolute poo because I was very early pregnant with what I would later find out is twins, and nobody else knew, but I would just remember distinctly feeling so terrible that day. But there's all my med school friends from my family med rotation and us practicing casts. I don't know why I posted this, but I know it's the first maternity shirt that I ever bought. So at that point, I must have not been telling anyone I was pregnant, but wanting to remember it. So that's a cute little memory for me. That was the first maternity shirt that I ever bought. Okay, I went to Chicago. I was really early pregnant at this point, but I didn't know it was twins yet. And I had to fly to Chicago to take step 2 CS, which is a 2-part test. One of them is a written test and one of them is a clinical skills test for our second set of board exams. So earlier I was talking about step 1 is your really important for being competitive. Step 2 is a 2-parter that you need to do well on. You can't tank it, but it's less important for competitiveness as far as applying to residency. But that's what I was doing. I was flying to Chicago to go take that test because we had to go somewhere, and I figured if I'm going to fly, I'm going to go somewhere cool. I love Chicago, so I went to Chicago. Checking my blood sugar for my family med rotation. We learned how to do that, and I did not enjoy poking my finger, but I did it because it was part of our assignment. So this is surgical tools. I have a set of surgical tools that I had at the house for practicing suturing, and I guess that I had them in the kitchen making iced tea, which they served their job very well. Oh, I remember this. Jennifer Arnold, who is a neonatologist in Houston. I don't know if she's there anymore, but she was a doctor on that show on TLC, and she retweeted something that I tweeted on Twitter, and I was so thrilled. I once saw her at a conference, a simulation conference, and like followed her around just hoping she would turn around and say hi to me. But of course she didn't, and I was being uber creepy. So please don't ever do that. If you see me at a conference, just come up and say hi, because it's way creepier if you just follow me around. This was the picture that we posted to let our friends and family know that we were having twins. The day I found out that we were having twins, I went to an ultrasound, and it was our first ultrasound, and they told us it was twins, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? And then 30 minutes later, I had to go present at Grand Rounds in front of hundreds of people at my medical school. I just had to basically dissociate from my body to get up there and speak in shock and hide the fact that I was in shock because I was pregnant with twins. My mom said, I'm at Bloomingdale's in New York City and I'm peeing in their restroom. She's going to be so mad I said this. And I said, oh my gosh, you're crazy. I'm so jealous. And she said, the bathroom's the only thing we can afford here. Oh, that's funny. They're like that. Oh, this was cool. Yeah, I was on a genetics rotation and I got to karyotype my own chromosomes. It was really, really cool. It's actually really hard. It's a very skilled process. More baby pictures. This is Elf A. We called them Elf because they were due just after Christmas and I thought they would be there around Christmas. They actually ended up coming early, but they were our little Christmas elves. So this is the fetus that would eventually become Amelia. This video is going to take forever to edit. And there's the fetus that would eventually become Reese doing sit-ups in the womb. Oh, little prego picture, 21 weeks pregnant with the twins. More pregnant pictures. Oh yes, this was the moment I realized that this car would not work. About 6 months before I found out I was pregnant, we bought the Mazda, and I was, I don't know, 25 at this point, so I'd had the same car for almost 10 years, and finally so excited to get a new car, and then found out it was twins, put the car seats in, and realized my husband won't be able to drive the Mazda because he's tall and we can't push it back far enough with both the seats in there. So we ended up getting rid of the Mazda and getting an Acadia. Oh, there we go. That's the Acadia that we bought. It served me well all through residency, even though it leaked from the sunroof and did not play music and occasionally wouldn't work because the sunroof leaked and shorted things out. But I had it until I was several years into being attending and finally bought a minivan. This was at Stanford MedX. I got invited to come to a MedX conference in California, and that was super cool. I think I was like, this is September 30th. I was probably like 25 weeks pregnant with the twins at this point. And we actually sat down with our school and convinced them that they should let us, as part of social media advisory committee that we started, go to Stanford MedX and pay for it. And they did. And it was awesome. And it was a great learning experience. More dog pictures, more coffee pictures. Well, that's a really convenient way to hold the coffee that I'm always drinking. Oh, look at that little baby foot. Thanksgiving, obviously the year that I had the babies, look at my turkey belly. And I can tell looking at this picture how swollen my face was becoming because probably 4 days before this, I had rapidly started developing worsening blood pressures and what I would a couple of days later find out is severe preeclampsia. That's what this picture reminds me of. That's what Thanksgiving 2012 reminds me of, is how quickly I became sick. And I'll take this moment to say also that hypertensive disorders in pregnancy are dangerous. They're dangerous for the person carrying a baby. They're dangerous for the baby. People who are Black are at an increased risk of morbidity and mortality from hypertensive disorders of pregnancy. We fail to recognize the warning signs more often in our patients of color. And this is something that we need to change. We need to listen. We need to evaluate. We need to practice protocols that make sure that we're not leaving out anybody and that we're paying attention to these signs and symptoms. We have to deconstruct the systemic bias in the medical system against people of color, improve access to care, and improve access to physicians who listen to their patients and nurses and everyone. I mean, anyone in the medical field can make a difference in this. 34 weeks and feeling like I was going to run out of room with the elves. Yes, that is a very big belly. I remember having to pick it up to roll over in bed. I felt like it was bigger around than I am tall. For those who don't know, this always seems to be really shocking to people. I'm 5'2", Having 2 almost 35-week babies in my belly was insane. The most common thing that you guys say when you meet me and you've only seen me here is, oh my gosh, I thought you would be a lot taller. I'm not. I am miniature size. I am 5'2". I am tiny. I once made a joke about height problems in one of my videos, and I had people email me so angry that I was making fun of short people. I'm like, it was a joke. I am also very short. I don't have a problem with short people. It was a joke. Oh, my little baby Wrigley. That's my dog Wrigley. He's named after Wrigley Field, and sadly he passed away, but not before he saw the Cubs win the World Series. Oh, this is the day. That day I went to a clinic appointment expecting just to get regular monitoring, and my blood pressure was sky high. Protein in my urine was sky high. I was diagnosed with preeclampsia, and I immediately was sent to labor and delivery because it was time to have babies. At that time, I did not know if the babies in my belly were boys or girls. We left the sex of the babies to be a surprise. That night at 10:39 and 10:40, my babies were born, both girls, twin girls, as you know, and they just turned 8. We've kind of lost the medical school part of this. I'm now just doing mom stuff, but there they are, my sweet little babies. They were originally on CPAP, and they were on that for 2 days. That was to help them with their breathing because they were premature. Amelia on the top here weighed 4 pounds and 10 ounces, and Reese weighed 4 pounds and 13 ounces. My husband holding Reese, giving them some expressed breast milk. I'm very proud of the fact that my twins were breastfed. I obviously support however anybody feeds their baby, but it was very, very hard to breastfeed my twins, and I am so proud of the fact that we were able to do that, especially because they were breastfed till they were over a year old, and that was a full 7 months into my residency, my intern year in OBGYN. They got out of the NICU and got to go home with me on December 8th, 2012, which was a little under a week after they were born. I actually was still inpatient as well because they were trying to get my blood pressure under control. So I went home on blood pressure medication on the same day that they finally got to go home as well. And there's little going home outfits, my little Aggie babies. I think this picture really shows how tiny they were. It's obviously super blurry and uses like the old school Instagram borders, but you can see Reese laying there on my belly and just, they were so tiny. By the time they went home, they were both like 4.5 pounds, and putting them in car seats was so scary. Cute little babies, 4 pounds, 8 ounces at her visit, which means she had gained a little bit of weight since coming home from the hospital. And Reese is hitting Amelia in the face. Oh, this one also shows really how tiny they were. So she weighed about 4 pounds and 8 ounces at this point, almost 2 weeks old. And yeah, she's just little bitty, tiny little baby, my little preemie baby. So many adorable pictures. I'm sure you guys don't want to see all of these, but I think they're super cute and bring back great memories. I remember we always had them in airplane pillows. So that's an airplane neck pillow, and they fit so perfectly in them that that's what we would lay them in all the time. Sweet babies. This was the first time I left the house after I had my C-section and went home and took the babies with me, and they were almost a month old, and I put them in the backseat, and guess where we went? We went to Starbucks because where else would I go? My sweet babies in their Moby wrap, all wrapped up for a walk. I think I managed to get them both in a wrap like 2 whole times, but that happened. Dog pictures, baby pictures, safe sleep, babies on their backs, no blankets or fluffiness around them. Decrease the risk of SIDS. Sleep your babies on their backs. More baby wearing. I love baby wearing. When my babies are tiny, I love wrapping them up and wearing them. Oh, this was match day. This is a great day. So match day is when we find out that we got into residency and where we're going. And so we get this envelope. It's a big to-do, and we open them all together to find out where we're going. I had matched to my number one choice, a residency program, and I was thrilled. Match day, March 15th, 2013. Gosh, it feels like yesterday. The first time I had seen my name on anything with MD behind it. More studying, more coffee. This time with an addition. My aunt was keeping them this week, and she got a picture of me on my way back to the hospital after hugging on my babies for a minute. I don't know how long I was off with them. It was kind of confusing because I had rotations that were like not in the hospital, so I was doing like interviews and stuff like that. So they were at least 3 months old before I actually went back to hospital shifts. Oh my gosh, that is adorable. Look at those fat baby thighs. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Oh, that's my stepdad that I was talking about who had the lung transplant, and he got to meet the babies when they were a few months old. So My husband, super twin dad, being incredible. This really took a turn from like med school content to I'm a mom now. Oh, this is when we went and bought a house where we went to residency. It's exciting, starting residency. Oh, this is a big day. Last day wearing the short white coat. If you retire it when you get into residency, because then you get the long white coat. But like I said earlier, I didn't even own a long white coat until I got out of residency, and I truly just use it for photo opportunities. But I wanted to document my last day in the short white coat, and my eyeliner was terrible. I don't know what's going on with that, but cool. And med school graduation day. Me and my babies. I was so proud to have been getting my Doctor of Medicine degree and holding my 2 5.5-month-old babies. Like, I was so proud, and I should have been. It's a big accomplishment, and having babies while you're in medical school isn't easy, and finishing residency while you have little kids isn't easy. So I love this picture, even though it's super blurry. And I don't know if I have another one anywhere that's not blurry, but I'm so happy that I have this one. My husband bought me this for graduation. It's a sperm and an egg, and when the twins got a little bit bigger, they absolutely loved playing with this. Look at those tiny, adorable surgeon babies. I think they wore that to my graduation ceremony. And after graduation, we said goodbye to our first family home, and that's where we lived when I was in medical school. I hope you guys enjoyed going through my Instagram post. Maybe a little bit of a chance to get to know me a little bit better. If you like this video, leave a comment below. If it gets enough likes and you guys want me to, I will go through my not publicly available Instagram posts from residency as well. I will see you next time.